And now we're going live, and welcome to another episode. We are going to show you all about this World Bank interview to a World Bank whistleblower. And this is the Algomoneyfest Precious Metal Series episode 2. And we are going here live for all the audience. This is the first time I'm doing all the data dump I have been kept for more than 7 years. And I'm going to show you all about this incredible interview. And please, you can use the chat if you're seeing. It's the first time, yes, because I had a lot of information that I never analyzed. And English is not my native language, so I apologize if I say something wrong. But this is what happens when someone goes deep down in the rabbit hole, trying to find the gold and supply, demand, statistics, and the fundamental analysis. And this is what happened to a man who tries to understand the gold market. And this is my story. And you will know all about my interview to a World Bank whistleblower, the first and the only one made in Latin America. What happens when you start researching about the gold market? You start to find really crazy stories about the shadow financial system, our world banking cartel, and much more crazy stuff. And first, I would like to thank to all those mentors I had in the years, especially the guy from the GARA, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, Martin Armstrong, which is my god, and I love Martin Armstrong, and all the people that Bob Chapman, who claimed that one day a virus was going to hit and the people will be in mandatory force. He was a precious metal writer 10 years ago. He passed away, and he told me some things that were in the conspiracy side of the story. He was a counterintelligence official of the US Army, and lots of his stories came through. But this is not about the conspiracy, this is about a real interview I made to a World Bank whistleblower from the World Bank. I'm a confirmed employee from that. And I tried to assess this information and see if I could understand what's going to happen to the World Bank with the price of gold. So I was exposed to much more information that I wanted. I'm going to make a data dump tonight with all that information. The World Bank whistleblower was Karen Hughes, and is still alive. He's still publishing information. This interview was made on 2013. She's a former lawyer and a confirmed lawyer. I'm not going to talk about the aliens, but she even talked about aliens, a different human species controlling world finance. But I'm going to go specifically to the topics I asked her about gold. So far, you are the first of the Latin American media to publish my story, she said. And nobody was asking her, only Russia Today, what she had to say. That was weird for me. And I went to her to ask her about gold. All he knew about gold, and the link below you can see now is a confirmation that I interviewed her by herself in her social network. So you can see that link is from June of 2013, and she confirmed that I interviewed her. So there are a lot of gold precious metals YouTubers, but I have this unique opportunity to interview special people. I believe I'm one of the few, and this was a great honor at that time. But things don't turn out as I expected. She's a lawyer from Yale, and she is a former employee of the World Bank. He worked there in the 80s. She worked in the Philippines, and yes, the secret gold reserves are involved in her story and the shadow financial system. Even though I am insider in the financial system, I never knew that this amount of secrecy and crazy stuff and maybe secret financial networks maybe out there, dark financial networks maybe are out there, out of the public sight. I understood that this was real, and it was called the OTC market and the shadow market that only are for people from a specific club. Maybe central banks, maybe big banks, maybe big individuals, and these are networks that are not in the know by the people. So Karen Hughes, Bob Chapman, and Gold Antitrust Action Committee, Zero Hedge all started to teach me about strange things that were happening in the world market, and I was trying to assess this information to understand the fundamental world supply and demand. And the World Bank confirmed that she was an employee of that organization. So she's not some crazy woman. She really was an employee, and I found that the World Bank confirmed that she was an employee 9 months later from my interview in that year. So I found the link. This is a Spanish version of the website of the World Bank. This is a press release, and this press release in Spanish, I have this is a link below, and I have the translation next. And the translation says, personally, Karen Hughes has been sending correspondence and organizing meetings on behalf of the World Bank. In some communications, has presented herself as the agency's acting general counsel. Karen Hughes has not been an employee of the World Bank since 2007 and is not authorized from now. So the World Bank confirmed that she was a lawyer, and she was like a whistleblower on those years, and the network of whistleblowers were there, like maybe like the Q movement now, but it was like a financial Q movement. It was very weird because at that moment of those years. So I asked her what happened with the World Bank, why she left, and she said me that the World Bank forged documents, and she was in the compliance sector, and she was in the legal area, and they fired her because maybe she wasn't ready for what was happening. And a network of whistleblowers went to the UK Parliament to expose this, and the link is erased and not even the archives of the web. So I'm going to not make a revision or a review of that interviews, instead I would like to focus on the most important things. She found out, and she told me about the discovery by a Swiss university and a research paper by the university in Switzerland that explains that 43,000 corporations control the world through 147 financial institutions. And this was a scientific research that proves the world global structure of power. So she sent me and recommend me this research paper, and this is one of the images of that world structure of paper that explains like all the global network of all the corporations. And this is how the world power looks from the network of corporations around the world. So I went further. I was here for the gold information and the gold data. So I asked her, what about gold? You said that there is much more gold than we believe it is. in the statistics of the world gold reserves. So she went to Russia today, and she said that there were 170,000 metric tons of gold in the Bank of Hawaii. And this is an amazing amount of gold reserves. I was pushing her and asking her, can you provide us with all the details about your discoveries? And this is what happened next. And she explained me that a crazy amount of gold and money and secret gold reserves were stolen by the Nazis and the Japanese army. And this was hidden, and it was called, if you Google, it was called the Yamashita gold. Yamashita was a Japanese general. And the US dark cabal, this was gold that was being protected for the benefit of mankind. And she even sent me photos I will present to you. And this dark cabal stole it to rescue banks after the financial crisis. This is some, and you can read about this as a global collateral accounts on the web too. Maybe in Sara Gold and Hisara Gold. This is too much information for me. I don't want to enter that feed because it's too much information, but I have the pictures, I have the documents. She sent me and I'm going to present you very soon. So this amazing amount of gold came from 60 countries, nobility, China for safekeeping, and she gave me to a link, erase from the web, just like the British Parliament link that I'm going to present to, but alive in the archives of the web. So this is the file she sent me, and this is the Tomoyuki Yamashita, the army general, and Ferdinand Marcos. According to all those stories, one of the politicians from Philippines, he created a trust with all this secret gold that later was stolen by the gold world cartel. And she sent me this file that is now not available on the web, but this file explains a bit about all the, I will show you later, and this will be in the data dump, but this is all the information we know. And I told her, have you seen the documents of this gold, I asked? And she said that this super entity, the network of corporations, is controlling the price, but it's not involved the gold that is hidden in the banks and also buried. He said that they are using naked short positions. And the offer for sale of gold which is not accompanied by physical possession. So we have this document. I'm going to show you this forbidden document. I have the proof here. I have rescued that file, and it's called History Revisited. This is explain all the story she said about some nobility and a crazy amount of gold, and the amount of gold according to geological explanation is not possible, this amount of gold. So where this gold came from? Where this is gold from? And this gold maybe from very ancient times, maybe from other planets, I don't know, but the amount of gold is not possible for me. And the story is that the amount of gold, and I'm going to show you more of this document. This is all going to be the data dump, but this amazing amount of gold was hidden in Philippines, and later it was attacked, maybe from space. Yes, thank you, boss. I don't know, really don't know. This is very much way above my radar, but maybe from space, maybe from alchemy, I don't know really. But I have seen that when you go and push further the web, the amount of gold that's according to these crazy documents from different whistleblower is much higher than the gold deserves. So I really don't know. Maybe from space, maybe from alchemy, I really don't know. Or maybe it's all just crazy stories, but I'm going to keep pushing her, and what happened next is even more crazy. I pushed forward and said to her, send me more proof, give me irrefutable evidence. And she said the gold is mentioned by David Wynne Miller, a 90-degree Freemason, and Lord James of Blackheath, a member of the UK House of Lords, in these two videos. Okay, let's start with this Lord James. So I went to study that video, and I captured the video. The video is still in the web, and this man says at the meeting at the UK Parliament that he saw money transfers for 50 trillion US dollar and 700,000 metric tons of gold. We are talking about an MP, a UK Parliament Lord. So he saw movements of money between the Royal Bank of Scotland and the HSBC, and he said it, and the video is available. So he talked about crazy amount of gold again. So now we have a former World Bank employee, and now Lord James of Blackheath talking about insane amount. And he talks about money laundering. He's worried about money laundering and the shadow financial system and crazy that was so high, the level of amount was so high, that was discarded by all the officials investigating these crazy theories. So let's put things in perspective. How much gold you said? She said about 100,000 tons of gold. How much gold is being produced now? Between 4,000 and 5,000 tons per year on planet Earth. So we're talking about between 4 and 5, according to the World Gold Council, which is an institution that collects statistics from miners, and this is the main source of fundamental analysis and the fundamental supply and demand statistics. So if you want to know how much gold is being mined, you go to the World Gold Council, and all the miners are got there. And some may say that the information is biased, and they are working for the banking cartel, and others say that it's the best source. I leave that to you, but this is the best information about the World Gold Council and the only available source about fundamental analysis. So you see here we have 5,000 tons per year. She was claiming that only one vault in Hawaii we have 100,000 tons of gold, and even more. So is this real or not? So I will push further here, and I asked her, that was in 2013, what about gold and silver investments? And she said, God may provide a means of payment. I believe demand for gold will increase as a means of backing world currency. And this is exactly what happened with China and Russia. And about silver, she said many industrial uses, its relative scarcity not reflected in its current price. Okay. Give me photo evidences, and she attached me the photos. And this is one of the photos of this gold. And this is the photo evidence. This is some chest from the Federal Reserve. If you can see, is the first chest is for the Federal Reserve Bank of Massachusetts from 1934. And I have the folder. All will be in the data dump with all their attached files she gave me. I'm going to make zoom so you can see the main 4 attachments that prove the gold, and these are her evidences. Well, you see there, she also sent me this FRB, the Federal Reserve of Chicago certificate. I'm going to make a bit higher zoom. From total amount 250 billion US dollars. It was like a big instrument. It's a box for 200 billion US dollar series of 1934. I like a box and sealed and trusted by the Federal Reserve. And she also sent me this paper from the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. This is to confirm that the FRN, the Federal Reserve note boxes submitted additional are coupon bonds. They are bearer bonds that have stopped accruing interest. So this is a historical document signed by Stephen Feldman, which is official, I believe. I think I remember it was a Federal Reserve official. And check the number, the date, December 18, 2001. I don't know if you remember what happened that year and 1 month before that. Do you know what happened about the gold reserves in September of 2001? What's the story related to that? So, very strange that day. The next photo she sent me was this very bond, which is a bit more quality if you check that. For 9/11, yes, thank you, boss. 9/11 was mentioned that the gold reserves disappeared from the World Trade Center. It is said that because the terrorist attack, all that gold was loaned al gold, all the debts were cancelled. That was the rumor back then. And now we see this document 1 month later from that terrorist attack. So it is rumored that all the gold reserves hidden at the vaults of the World Trade Center disappeared before the terrorist attack. And now I connected the dots, and now 12 years later, Kanye Hughes sent me these Federal Reserve documents that they were making big movements of gold and some evidence. I don't know why. I don't mind connecting the dots, but I have no connection. But I find it weird. And these are the evidence she gave me. This is the front of the document. This is the front of this bill from 1 trillion US dollars. And it's a certificate from 1934. And you see that this was a bill from 1 billion US dollar by the Federal Reserve certificate. This is the link of the paper, and this is more the Central Bank of the Philippines evidence. And if you check there, this is this signed by Ferdinand Marcos, who was the president of Philippines at that time, and a legal counsel of a gold trust called TVM LSM 666, which was the name of the World Gold Trust of 1 million. Check the amount of gold of this gold that was talked here. So you have amazing amount of gold backed up by real estate and gold bullion for a total of 1 trillion metric tons. Oh man. The name of the gold trust was TVM LSM 666. And this is one of the funds committed and headed by the World Bank and the IMF. The sign was signed by the Central Bank of Philippines, chairman of that moment, and the president. And this was the document that proved that this gold trust on behalf of mankind was hidden and later captured by a dark shadow network of power later, according to Karen Hughes. So I didn't stop there. So I asked her for more evidence some months later, in the next year. This is that I never show you. The document is called Gold 2.pdf in the data dump that I'm going to release today. So I asked her, give me more evidence, please, of these gold bolts. And she sent me this PDF file, ball-to-ball transaction from LSM 666, the trust asset, and all the gold that was there, and the bolt. And it was signed by President of the United States and the Supreme Commander of the Allied and non-Allied nations. And again, Ferdinand and the President of the Philippines and legal counsel of the TVM LSM 666. Again, this signs this official document, and later she added me, and this is one of the crazy. She added me a big photo. And first I saw this picture. I said, oh yes, look, TVN LSM 666, the gold trust. And later she added this photo. I said, oh, I recognize that photo. Karen, this photo I know. This photo is from the Gold ETF CLD Bolt. So I went to Google, and I'm going to Google and recognize the photo because I had added that photo in my book about gold manipulation. So I checked CLD ETF, which is now the SPDR, and the most famous gold ETF. And here you are, the same picture. And I asked her, listen Karen, this is a gold ETF photo. What are you talking about? And this is what happened next. This is just amazing. This is the gold ETF HSBC in London, Bolt. And you can see the picture, it's the same picture. And later she said me, I was with the war mafia, not helping mankind. I was a son of bitch. She sent me an email saying me that I was a son of bitch because I asked her about this photo from the SPDR gold shares or the CLD ETF. That's the proof, and it's the first time I wait a lot of years to expose this, but now I'm doing this. And she said me, you are the one who asked for the photo to try and entrap me. It wasn't my fault. I was trying to find the truth. Resist reality, you rotten son of bitch. You can check that, I have the proof. I am blocking you from my emails. Okay, she blocked me. Sad story. And this is a story of a crazy guy who wants to learn to trade gold. So I did all of this. Later I became a rich guy in my country, and now I'm exposing all the things I know because I don't want people like I made a live transmission with all the Wall Street bets, crash JP Morgan buy silver story, and made a live transmission alerting people to keep a gold mine, and that silver was going to go to 30 tops. And that's exactly what happened a few weeks ago with all the Wall Street and GameStop craziness, that they were supposed to corner the silver market, So I went and made a live video asking people to keep that mind cool, because what happened with the crash JP Morgan buy silver in 2010 and 2011, it was a lot of people were caught buying silver for $40, and then 10 years later they are still holding the silver bar. But hey, keep stacking, man. Hey, keep stacking. And I don't believe that is real good advice. So I made that live transmission. You can check that. And the live transmission, it was on Sunday, one day before the silver short squeeze operation on Monday. And I said, keep your mind cool, don't catch a silver fever, and silver could go to $30 per ounce, and that was the silver high of the week. The silver high of the week. I hope you are still out there, because I'm hoping I'm not talking. Please say something on the chat now. This is a slow mode, but both if you are there or something and someone is there, please confirm that you are listening all this story. Because I'm not a high-tech savvy, and please confirm that you are listening well and you are hooked with the story, and if you have some listening, audio is okay, boss. I think you are my host now. Boss, is okay the audio? I bought a new mic. I hope the audio is okay, so I can continue. So, Karen Hughes, thank you, man. Thank you, boss. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So I was saying that with all this craziness about GameStop, and they were going to crash the World Banking cartel, without knowing what I have experienced reading and all the people involved and all the shadow. Thank you very much, because I changed for a new mic, a professional. With all this craziness, I was asking people to keep a cold mind with the silver short squeeze, and I was alerting about that in Twitter or on the media, because I respect the savings from the little people and from the little guys. I didn't want nobody to get caught for 10 years with a commodity. I truly believe that the US dollar is in trouble, but it's a long story. The US dollar is in trouble, but it can stay stronger than you can stay with the position. So the timing from a US dollar crash is a sales pitch, that has been talked for years. And all the bullion dealers and silver bullion dealers this week crying that there was a silver shortage and we are going to die. So I made a live research recently, and I went to these bullion dealers in Europe, and they were selling silver bars with no premium to spot. So why the silver coins are a hot market? The silver coins are in a hot market. The silver coins are in a hot market because some central banks, and this is very, very important, some central banks are considering the cancellation of paper money. This is a true story. This is insider knowledge, and not insider knowledge so far, because this is being talked now, analyzed, and discussed, and some papers are being released. The possibility of the cancellation of paper money, and there are good sources that are claiming, like my master and teacher Martin Armstrong, who believes that according to his sources, the cancellation money could arrive in next year, 2022. So if you have a cancellation of money, you need to protect yourself, because you are in the matrix and you can't get out. The paper allows you to get out of the financial system. You have paper, you are not in the financial system. If there is no paper, you are always in the matrix. Maybe this is related to the famous economic theory mentioned about the Great Reset. I don't know. But I ended my story with Karen Hughes, and I just discovered that she's still publishing videos from time to time on YouTube, and she's still talking that the dark cabal is controlling mankind for 12,000 years. And the virus, as she said, she doesn't mention the name of the virus, and I won't either. It's 5G, 5G radiation, radioactivity. She said even. I don't know if she's a financial disinfo ops, like the Q in the politics camp. I don't know if she's financial disinfo, misinfo, but she sent me a GLD ETF photo, Volt, and she now saying that the virus and the death from the people was a cover-up because they were testing with 5G EMF and its military technology, and they were doing some beta testing, and I find this is taking way much away from the financial side of my channel, way much. So this is my story and the data dam. So what I learned, gold statistics, commodities statistics are insane. This was explained to me by this guy Bob Chapman. He was a counter-intelligence military guy, and he had a gold newsletter. He was from the United States, and he passed away from cancer. And he explained me that no government was going to tell you the truth about gold reserves, oil reserves, because these are all secrets of national security, and that makes sense to me. That made sense to me. And if I tell you the amount of crude oil that I have, you know the amount of time. He explained me very well that by email, that if I tell you the real amount of crude oil I have, you will know the amount of time my tanks can manage a war. And so it's national secret, and it's a national interest not to tell you the real amount of gold, the real amount of crude oil reserves from a national security point of view. So the thing that I learned, that the gold statistics are insane, it was like seeking for the holy grail. I did that. The fundamental analysis of gold is too weird, too much info, too much disinfo for me. I will never learn how much gold really is in the world. I will never learn. I consider myself a failure in this matter, and I believe the amount of info in disinfo is too much for me, and I can't say it enough. Too much. And the best information out there, you will find other people that saying that info is fake. So what could you do when the main source of statistics are considered fake? Second, I discovered technical analysis. You have two schools to study and make money with gold or commodities. The fundamental, or maybe with stocks too. The fundamental school and the technical analysis. And here we have the quanto, the algo analysis too. So you look the charts, or you look the supply and demand. You have to choose. Or maybe some people combine the two schools, make something better. The key is that you have to trade your system and plan your trade and trade your plan. This is very American, all saying in the stock market. So after all this crazy stuff with gold, with the Gara.org people, I know Chris Powell, and the treasurer of the Gold Antitrust Action Committee. He's one of my mentors, and maybe I will have him in this channel too in the future. I cross finger, but maybe next month Chris Powell from the Gold Antitrust Action Committee will be here in this channel next month. This is one of let's cross fingers because he's giving lots of interviews. So I said to him if he will be in my channel, and he said yes, but I have to wait. So this is an exclusive one. Maybe I am the one and the only one in Latin America again to interview one guy from the Gold Antitrust Action Committee. And I tell you this, from some reason, this type of information never hits mainstream media. This is real. I don't know why, because gold is interesting, but this information, it's never published in mainstream media. So I went 100% technical analysis. Later, algo trading, I studied programming, and the algo trading, algo robots explain me my technical analysis traps. So you buy the books about trading, you will learn from some YouTuber that you can create some charts with trading view and chart here, and you will see head and shoulders pattern and this pattern and resistance and support and all the class and Morphy book about trading analysis, and you will start to feel like a genius and nothing works and you lose money. And what happens with all the YouTubers that will sell you that you can make money just looking at the charts, and you go and make the charts and you lose money. And this is what happened to me with gold. So what I learned is that charts are okay, they will explain you the trend, but to make money you have to develop systems and do some back testing, and the charts are not enough for me. So you have to have system back testing, you have to prove that the system works, and the worst part and the hardest part is that you have to have discipline with gold. And you will learn that the best minute for trading gold is 9:24 New York time. It's the best minute. Maybe some robot tell you that the best time. I discovered that the best minute for buying gold is 9:24 a.m. New York time. And the algo, that was I discovered last year. But the thing is that trading system also change with the market, with the environment. So they are like humans. They born, they grow, and they die. So you have to optimize and keep adapting that to keep on the trend and keep the equity curve up. So it's not that easy, but it's possible. And the hardest part is the psychological part, even for trading gold and silver. So I live in all this information. This is my journey. I went on the fundamental analysis side. I read all I could, and I found crazy stories that maybe it was a hint, and maybe it was a hint because maybe behind the curtain there are shadow networks, shadow world, global structures of power, and shadow financial systems. Maybe it's true, I don't know, but it's just too much for me and for my journey. Profitability comes from discipline, and profitability comes from being a humble trader. And I was very humbled by the algo trading, and this robot taught me what I was doing wrong the last 3 years. This was not, I was in a long journey. I love this, and I love being here, and I'm opening this moment now for all your questions. If you want to type some chat, ask me all you want about gold, silver, ETFs, personal finance. I will be here, and I'm honored for your visit, and I'm going to answer all your questions about the market now. I will want to say, do you know why Germany quite recently requested gold back from? Yes, from the famous, yes, the famous gold repatriations. Well, it is said, it is fascinating that if you check all the silver ETF, the main silver ETF, the only money goes to London like in the British Empire moments. Why now all the money keeps going back to London and the London vaults and the same places? Maybe we are seeing the real world global structures. Maybe. I don't know. So Venezuela also asked for the gold repatriation and it was denied. Maybe if you remember the story, I have the link. Russian central bank received fake gold bars. Fake gold bars. I don't know the real story about that, but it is said that the gold in foreign overseas, why gold is sent to places like London? One explanation could be the official explanation. Argentina also sold its gold in 2016. In 2016, 4 years ago, and sent it back to London. What is the explanation? Because if you want to lease the gold and you are a central bank and you want to make some income with that gold, they ask you to keep the gold in London or in New York. So if you are a central bank, you have it here in Buenos Aires, Argentina, you make no income. But they say you, if you send the gold to London, we can pay you income. So I made recently a video about the silver ETF. And the silver ETF SLB clearly says in the risk factor, if something happens with the silver, they can pay you with cash. They say that in the legal language, but they say that if there is a terrorist attack, if there is insurrection, if there is a nuclear fission power, you check that video. It's called Hidden Secrets of Silver ETF SLB. I made it recently, a few days ago, a few weeks. So if you check I went all the 40 pages of the PDF, and they say the risk factors. I'm a risk guy. I work about risk. My job is risk analysis and risk modeling. The PDFs clearly explains. First, the goal will be the JP Morgan vaults in London, and the PDF also explains that if one of the black swans happens, they are not forced to give you the silver bars, but they are forced to give you the amount of value of the silver bars. So the main silver ETF with billions of US dollars is clearly saying, hey, I don't have to give you the silver bars. I can give you cash. I can print. Maybe someone can print cash and give me a loan. I will give that money. I think you understood. Also, you have a relationship between the trust between central banks that is being placed by all the people which is in the conspiracy side of the gold market. So I don't want to go to the conspiracy side of the market, but one of the reasons that the gold was overseas, it was that they were threatened by war. So we have all the war, the gold reserves were protected by the United States, by the Allied force, because there were Nazi armies attacking the gold reserves. So now we are in a different moment, and the idea that Germany asked for its gold, it was related by the tradition of keeping the gold reserves outside the country for war, the Cold War. But maybe the different central banks are not trusting each other. Maybe they are not trusting each other, and that was the real reason from the repatriation. I don't know. I really don't know that. But we are seeing increasing amount of paper being printed at very low interest rates. Maybe one day the system needs a great reset, just like it's being announced by the World Economic Forum, and a new monetary system is needed. and that's exactly what is happening. And there is a paper that I analyzed on Twitter that explains the need of a new architecture based on central bank digital currencies as a superior architecture. Yes, it's very impressive work. It's shocking also, but the paper is there by the Bank of International Settlement, which is the central bank of the central banks, and the paper was released, and it's the real roadmap for me for what is going to happen to the crypto market and for all the world reserves. Sorry, for all the crypto market and for the central bank digital currencies. So if there is no more questions, I'm going to continue the Algomoneyfest Precious Metal series every Friday. So please share this video, please subscribe. This is I was a personal finance teacher, and now I will be here for you. Of course, you check my Twitter, boss. You have been very active, so check I will publish, and I'm going to make the data dump right now with all the documents that Karen Hughes gave me in the past. The data dump will start now, and I'm going to share that data dump now. The data dump and all the documents and videos and the British law, all is there. I had more documents and evidence and emails Karen Hughes, World Bank Whistleblower, gave me, and I never analyzed completely the information. It was way too much for my only interest. What about the gold price in the future? So I'm dumping all this information for you, and it's there. Oh, are you a Freemason? Oh, I wish I were. I think if I were a Freemason, I should be richer. It's a good question. I believe that one of my relatives maybe was a Freemason. I'm not sure because I googled my surname, and it seems that one guy with my surname was a Freemason. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I don't know if that person. My surname is very particular, so I don't know if that person is related to my family. But I know I'm not a member of any secret society or anything. I'm just a rich guy who tries to understand how to make money in gold, silver, and teach about personal finance in Argentina for years, and now I'm moving here. So you have an Argentinian friend, a guy who you can ask everything about the market. I live hyperinflation at the age of 9. We had market meltdowns, buy crisis. Hyperinflation here is 50% this year, 40 last year, 30. We experienced bank meltdowns, multiple foreign currency exchange, confiscation, pension funds, whatever you want. We are in the future of what may happen, of all the financial dooms you may experience. We have already have experience. So consider this channel a place where you can come back and ask a free question, because this is free. This is a free channel, a free service to the world. So the data dump is now on the chat, and it will be fixed to the comments of this video. Sorry, English is not my native language, so I apologize if I explain things a bit slowly. But it is my course now, and it's in English, and it will be for free. So more questions if you don't have more questions, and I hope you are enjoying this transmission, this live transmission. Next steps will be to continue the precious metal series, and I'm going forward to interview more people, but live or maybe the video. And later after that, I'm going to start my journey trading precious metal from zero to algo trading. for free. And the real deal. Check the video when I said that silver was going to 30. Recently, on a live transmission before the silver short squeeze. Do you think that banks will collapse along with the stock market and customers suffer the bank's bail-in strategy? Which country are you from? Are you from Europe? Because the bank bail-in strategy was mentioned by an article from the ECB that from now they were not going to rescue banks. Oh, okay, I knew you were from Europe. And I don't know, the banks are not in a bad situation now. Banks are solid globally because there is a lot of resilience in the system. We have a repo crisis. I don't know if the repo crisis is, but the bank didn't trust each other in September of 2019. So the situation, you could check that with the price of the LIBOR interest rate, that it went crazy is 1 month before the COVID crisis showed up in Wuhan, October 2019. So 1 month before the coronavirus, the bank were not lending each other in New York and Europe. So the LIBOR rates went skyrocket, and the Federal Reserve acted very fast, and the price of the interest rate went down. The interest rate went down quickly. So after COVID, the crisis between February and March, all the central banks, especially the Federal Reserve, were pumping a lot of money, and they went for the helicopters, and they deposited money to the people, different from the different crises. So check this pattern. We have a financial crisis in 2008, a virus, and stimulus, and a crash JP Morgan buy silver of 2010. This happened 10 years ago. A swine flu virus, a financial crisis, all on stimulus, and retail people, going after Wall Street. 10 years later, what happened? We have a financial crisis, repo crisis of September 2019, a virus in Wuhan, a stimulus, and the Wall Street bet going after Wall Street. The same pattern happened 10 years later. So the banks are liquid, and especially in Argentina, banks are this financial system is extremely strong here. But the weak side now is in United States, from again the story from the corporate debt, which is extremely expensive, and the shank bonds are giving no rates. So the Federal Reserve is worried that things are being overheated, and when you have overheated market, you have credit risk again. So COVID, I don't know if you know that the COVID new cases crashed 58% in 3 weeks. This is good news, but also very weird. What happened with COVID that it crashed 58%, the amount of new cases in 3 weeks? What happened with COVID? I don't know. But all the stories about new vaccines, this crash in the COVID new cases is creating a rush of world trade, and we also see that lots of people there's now a crisis in the shipping industry, because people are stocking back again. So there is a projected rebound in the world economy. The world economy is shaking from all the crises we have the last nasty year of 2020. But if COVID keeps continued pressuring of the people and the lockdowns stay, the economy will keep going down slowly, and maybe we are enter in a 10-year depression, like Nuri Rubini said. Nuri Rubini was a famous. How can the little guy profit from the great risk? Well, one of the new micro drivers of the great reset is that everybody went online. So I changed my personal finance course in Spanish, and now I have a global audience. My sister, who is a kinesiologist, opened a clothes online store, and she's making profits. And there are industries that will prosper, will be successful for you in the long term. Especially all this, there is a lot of movement about the going green and protect the environment. This is heavily pushed by very high spheres of power, because we need to protect the planet, and the great reset will also bring a new structure of power, more balance. And more balance means that the United States dollar should go down and open the way to a multilateral structure of power. And that is being said by Merkel, by others. And the way that the Biden administration is handling, it's showing that I believe that the US dollar will experience increasing pressure from now. Slowly, but this process is open, and they created too much stimulus. But if you check what the Bank of England, from US stranded, you are from England, the Bank of England is preparing the financial banking system. I can provide you the link, send me an email if you want. Is preparing the English banks, the British banks, for negative rates. So UK will follow the ECB, the Bank of England, the BOE, the BOE will follow the ECB to negative territory. So the US dollar will stay stronger than the rest of the currency in a negative war. So when we have negative war, we start with the reflationary pressures that will compensate the different deflationary pressures that could be brought us. So this is very, very hard to explain because it's multi-dimensional. But we are now in a reflationary pressures, and if you can check that, the 10-year shield of the United States going way back up. This is signaling that the market believes that we are going to see reflationary pressure or more inflation in the future, which is good for commodities but bad for food prices, which means that it's going to be pressure on the people, and the little people who is most exposed in the third world countries. So I think I gave you a bit of hints. Be careful with food prices, they're going up. The US dollar will be pushed by it will still be stronger than other currencies, and we are going to experience an hyper technology and a revolution. Staying digital is very important, and I don't see other opportunities because I'm not that wise and don't have all the answers. I wish I was a bit more smart, but this is what I'm seeing from the Great Reset. And be careful with cryptos, because this already happened. What is happening now with the crypto market already happened a few centuries ago. With decentralization of money already happened and ended badly. We have again a period of re-centralization of money with the Federal Reserve Bank, and before the Federal Reserve Bank, the money was distributed between multiple banks, and I believe that Bitcoin could still go up, but I'm wondering when this is going to stop and being replaced by central bank digital currencies. They hate Bitcoin, or maybe they are behind Bitcoin. I don't really know. I don't really know if all these entities are behind the Bitcoin, but I know they love the central bank digital currency idea, and from a central bank mindset, the central bank digital currency is way better than the paper, because paper you don't track things. And if I was a central banker, I will be pushing for central bank digital currencies too, because I can control everybody. But we are still not there, because they had to address the subject of privacy and how they are going to create privacy for the people, and the levels of acceptance of the people to establish a new architecture. So this is all the things that are being discussed now from levels of academic circles in the monetary area now. When was the last time when currency got centralized? Okay, good question. We have the United States, they had decentralization of money. There were multiple banks creating credit and printing their money and printing their certificates, the tons, and later we have in 1913 a central bank, which was the Federal Reserve Bank, and nobody was able to create money. So gradually we have that after the Second War, all the currencies by the Bretton Woods Agreement were related to the US dollar. So we have the Second War created a war of the US dollar as the currency of the war. So from there we have a currency from a country that was intact, like the United States, and we have decades of a dollar which was backed by gold until 1971, when Nixon took the dollar away from the gold window, and now we are in a global experiment where all the world currencies are backed by confidence in the governments. So this confidence tends to move from private to public, as my mentor Martin Armstrong explains very well in the cycles of confidence. And now we are in a cycle that the people confidence moves between the public confidence, bonds, government, and the private confidence, which is gold, crypto now, commodities, real estate. So the money goes public, private, from cycles and cycles over and over again, and now we are in a super cycle of private confidence, and people leaving the public confidence, and the money is circulating back to this private investment, like commodities, like crypto. So the banks are smart, and we have now the Bank of New York Mellon that just announced this week that they will allow cryptocurrencies, so the deposits keep staying in the books. So the oldest bank of United States has just announced that they are going to allow Bitcoin for their customers. This is this week, and the central bank, one of the public banks of Russia, also is announcing cryptos, and the guys who are far away and fast and first in the game, and the banks of Japan, South Korea, big news. China is also very advanced, and they are going to deploy, and UK is also announcing that they're going to have their central bank digital currency, and they are all in beta test, secret beta test, and some are more advanced. But now more than 50 central banks are experiencing with or studying crypto markets and the way to develop and shape their own systems to a new system, and maybe in a hybrid system combining the blockchain chain technology. So all these things took me to all the stories like the Karen Hughes. So the data dump is there. There is more information that I have already analyzed, and I hope you enjoy this information for free. And please recommend this video, subscribe this channel, because I need 2 or 3 subscribers, and YouTube will give me my own link, which will be youtube.com/Algomoneyfest. Thank you, YouTube. I have to wait 2 months of free work just to get a free link. So I'm going to keep answering your questions, no problem. So you are saying that money will move to a gold standard again? No, I don't think so. I believe that the gold standard is a golden cross, and is an instrument that is very hard, it's complicated for the central bankers because it's deflationary and it doesn't give you flexibility for policies according to their view. I know that you want to protect your value, but those who have a different mentality and think, and those who are ruling, they think in flexibility, not in protecting your value. They will say that they will protect your value, but when you are in that level, you have to protect the flexibility, keep flexibility that will allow you to create monetary policies needed for the achievement of your objectives, so to speak. This is a politically correct way to say that they will prefer flexibility rather than a golden cross to carry in the future. And the cryptocurrency market is offering a way to make policies even faster and deploy money and policies with a click of a button, even faster than pretty money. So they are all of them. I don't believe a crypto standard, maybe, or crypto backed by real estate, maybe too. That could be possible, a way to empower. But I haven't read anything that will say that we are going to migrate to a World Bank crypto backed by something, because they don't have to. If you want to optimize your profits as a world central bank or your gains, if you can deploy a system with no backing, then you are better than being forced to back something, and you have less flexibility. So if it is possible, they will try to create a cryptocurrency backed by nothing, and that is the best win-win scenario for the central bank ruler. The ruling class just want the population works for monopoly managed. Yes, but cryptocurrencies are finite and deflationary like gold. Yes, crypto are deflationary, especially Bitcoin. Maybe Bitcoin is a beta test for the same people, I don't know. If you had money to invest, where would you put it right now? I have my silver coins. It's trading. I have my silver coins. I would check the price of food, check the price of, and I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just saying check the price of food, check the price of cotton from a historical point of view. I also try to say, hey, if they give you a 0 interest rate to buy real stuff that are going to go up in value, maybe it's a good time to take that loans if you believe that this is positive income. Maybe we have to be alert if we are not going to suffer from new waves of new viruses. This is a game, it's a black swan which turns dangerous the world and unpredictable. But if only I could get those negative interest rates, I could be better now. Here, an interest rate for personal loans in Argentina are between 30 to 50% per year, and inflation is projected around 40 and 50% in the market, and the government is claiming that will be 30% in pesos, Argentinian pesos. So the market is seeing the level of inflation even higher than the projections of the government. Yes, this is standard in Argentina. We have years from 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, and now 50. And we have hyperinflation when I was 9, and you were at the supermarket and you were buying stuff with my mom, I remember that. And we have to rush and grab all the tomato, all the cans, the tomato can, I remember, because the guy, the clerk was coming to change the price, and it was 30-40% every day. It was the worst month. It was in 1989 in Argentina, the hyperinflation. So you had to buy fast because the clerk was coming and changing the price 2 times per day. That was living in hyperinflation, real hyperinflation. I think the highest hyperinflation was 1,000 in only a month of inflation. 1,000 inflation rate. We have 4 or 5 currency exchanges levels. We have multiple foreign exchange rates, multiple, according to what are we doing. So it's a very crazy country, and you will. And when I see United States and when I see Europe, I see that you are repeating the same mistakes we have already done. So we know the future, and the future is reflationary pressures, because the United States is repeating the same mistakes, but in slow motion. What will happen here in 2 years for the United States takes 4 or 5 decades, and the same for Europe. It's very slow. So we crash every 10 years, and the United States will have cycles of 100 years, and they will stay okay, but they will suffer the same destiny that happens to countries that creates too much debt, that creates too much expenses. They all end the same. They all end the same. Yes, it's high. If there is no more question, I hope you are enjoying this update. And we're going to be here every Friday until I finish the Algomoneyfest Precious Metal series. Please study, please don't catch any crypto fever or precious metal fever, because market is extremely hot right now, and this is dangerous time. I believe the people in the crypto market will continue to going up, thanks to Elon Musk, who showed up when Bitcoin was going up. Yes, boss, I thank you. I hope you are subscribed now, because subscribers are my food from now, my extra food. So please recommend this video in your social networks, and I think you appreciate your visit, and I'm honored by your visit and your questions, and I'm going to be here every Friday. Thank you very much, and goodbye.